Good morning and welcome to Central London, Holborn Underground Station to be exact. 34 million people every year use this station, riding up and down one of the 4 escalators, probably not thinking a thing about it. But what happens if you have to take one of those escalators out of action? Well, we've come to find out. So the man in front of me, that's Adam Thompson. He's in charge of all this today. So talk about where we're heading in a minute, Adam.
So we're going down to what they call the UMC, which is the upper machine chamber for escalators 4 to 7. There's 2 machine chambers on an escalator. There's an upper machine chamber and a lower machine chamber, and in between there's the incline which the escalator runs down. Now you can hear why it's called a machine chamber. Few machines in here.
So whereabouts in the station are we right now? Like if you're walking in and out of Holborn Station, where are we? Are we underneath the ticket hall?
We're right below the ticket hall now.
Okay.
So this space is basically the same size as the ticket hall. The sizes of machine chambers varies. It's in different stations, but Holborn it's the whole width of the ticket hall.
Okay.
And these are the drive machines for escalators 4 to 7, which is the long escalators at Holborn.
Do they ever stop, or are they continuously running?
They're designed to stop for 4 hours in engineering hours, although that's now changed because we have night tubes, so on Friday and Saturday night they run constantly. These machines have all had the motors replaced, the brakes replaced, and the gearboxes replaced.
To actually get between the escalators to where they're actually doing the work, we have to walk between the motors and then underneath the top of the escalator. Luckily I didn't look up because it was pretty grotty, the amount of hair hanging down above me. It's difficult to see though when we show it on the camera.
So
where are we now? We're kind of like underneath an escalator,
This is underneath the top of the escalator. You can see all that hair hanging down. That's the dirt of the escalators.
Where is it? Yeah, we can kind of see this here.
We refurbished this escalator. We finished this about 6 months ago. So that's 6 months hair. Gives you an idea of like how much dirt. Yeah, we can go down here.
This is a pretty narrow gap, right? As you kind of would expect, I suppose.
So we're standing here between the escalators. There's not very much between people standing on the steps and a moving machine. In fact, they are actually standing on a moving machine. And generally, if you think about it, where you have moving machinery, you have guarding to stop people touching it. Escalators are different. You stand on the steps. For that to be safe, these rails, which are called the tracks, have to be very accurately aligned. So there are no gaps above that people can put their fingers in or get caught in, or anything like that, or the steps get undue stress. When we work on an escalator, the first thing we do is we take all the steps and the chain out, and then we go and do what they call scoping, which is to establish what condition the tracks are in.
Have there always been escalators on the tube? You might not know the answer to that, but have there always been?
When the tube was built, the Bakerloo line, Northern line, Central line, the big expansion of the tube in the early 20th century, they all had lifts. And in fact, there were lifts at Holborn. There is actually a lift shaft still here at Holborn. And that sometimes creates us problems because you have lift shafts that sort of appear underneath escalator works, which you then have to sort of bridge over if you're replacing the escalators.
What's the most common reason for the escalator kind of like malfunctioning? Is it someone dropping something?
The most common thing is coins and things getting dropped on the steps, and then they hit the what they call the cone plates, which is the
little teeth at the bottom.
Using the escalators, please either stand on the right hand side or walk up on the left.
You were asking me earlier about where does all the dust from the steps go, the answer is on trays like this. It gets caught as it comes around the steps and sort of drops down. So where your coins and all that sort of stuff that might drop through the steps, it comes down onto these dust catchers.
Have you found anything unique, random, just unexpected?
There's a lot of stories, gold rings and gold coins, but I've never seen them myself.
So the lower chamber also houses the water pumps. Now they're continuously running to remove water from the network. And although it's noisy down here, it's not completely unbearable. So we'll leave the lower chamber up this narrow staircase, and behind us is Nancy carrying the tripod that I did ask her to carry. We did end up using it, sorry about that, Nancy, but she did a grand job nonetheless. Now, having seen the works from underneath, we are now getting the chance to take a look behind the blue hoarding from above. Nice hat.
Right. So this is the bottom of the escalator. This is called the idler shaft. It's the smaller of two shafts. There's a drive shaft and an idler shaft, and the chain runs between the two sets of shafts. So there's a big chain that runs in these sprockets, and then the steps are attached to those big chains. In Holborn, there's 34 million people go through this station a year. On a weekday, that means there's 100,000 people going in and out of the station on any given weekday. As a comparison, Gatwick Airport takes about the same number of people, but over a much bigger area. So it just gives you an idea of the sort of intensity.
Adam takes us back to the top of the escalator to explain the differences between the two ends.
The top shaft drives the machine, so that what we saw downstairs, the gearbox and the motor, there's a chain that goes from the gearbox to this sprocket here, which turns the steps going round. This was the escalator that was in the worst condition in the station, so there's been a number of issues that we've encountered with the condition of the machine as we've done work on it. But yeah, if I can get the step chain and the steps back in the beginning of the year, then I'll be.
And then that's it for Holborn, and when are you back again? What's 15 years time?
15, 20 years, yeah.
And where's next?
We've already started at Charing Cross. This team will go to St Paul's next.
So there you go, a peek into the work of Adam and his team, keeping the escalators on the Tube network in tip-top condition.